Hey everybody, Z Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this week in this episode of Typical Manga Review, we're going to be going over Inside Mari, Chapter 54, What Was Bottled Up, and it seems like this chapter came out a lot quicker than normal.
I think he's like making up for the delay from a few weeks ago.
Probably.
'Cause he did that last time too. He had like the one in in consecutive weeks, which is not something he does normally.
Yeah, because it's usually like one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, we pretty much pick up right where we left off. That Mari is rushing up the little like street bridge that Yori is standing on, and she's pretty much coming to the same conclusion that we are, that she's about to jump. That she even grabs Yori's arms, like pulls her back, and says that that's dangerous. It's like Yori's like, "What is? It's not dangerous." And apparently the reason she never got anybody's calls is because her phone's battery died.
Yeah, but she also doesn't care, based on how her demeanor.
Yeah.
And who says I'm sorry? Was that her? It looks like her. Or
Actually,
it looks like it's her.
Well, going by speed, it looks like it's Mari. I mean, there. It's like
It doesn't really make sense for Mari to say though. She's like
not
it
yet
feels
anyway.
like
Oh yeah,
it
you're
feels
right.
like
You're right.
it feels like Yori's just saying I'm sorry, but kind of like no emotion behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm sorry, whatever.
Yeah, my phone died. I missed your messages. Sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm envisioning right now, or I'm getting from these panels.
Yeah.
And then she's just, Mari starts to talk, and then Yori just like gives this really like blank stare, and she's like, "What?" And then she takes her hand away from Mari, and basically Mari explains to her like, "Look, you have been home. Your sister's worried about you. Let's go home. I'll walk you home. I'll walk you there. And then Yori actually said, responds with home. Where is home? And then she says that she doesn't know, what home is, and that she can't go back, and then says sorry.
Yeah, she's saying sorry to Mari. Like she's saying sorry she is so dependent. Like she's a shameful excuse for a human being. She's filth. She's scum who only thought of herself.
Isn't that Sal?
Well, I think that's kind of maybe one helped her realize about herself, or made her think she's thinking about herself.
Yeah, and it's also interesting. I would like to note that she says, and this caught my attention the first time I read this too. She says, "I'm sorry, Mari." So is she talking to? Does she like kind of like think they're the same person now? Does she think that? Is she saying? Is she doing what she did before, where she's talking to something that maybe she's not talking directly to a Sal, but like like a sleeping Mari in her subconscious?
I think
what does she mean?
I don't know. I think she's starting to piece it together a little bit, because even what comes up a little bit next here, like
Yeah.
right away, like Mari tries to reassure her that it's not true, but then she looks up and at first I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but it looks like she's biting her lower lip.
Yeah.
And then she asks Mari, "Tell me, what was that kiss? Who did it? Komori, Mari, who are you?"
Yeah, and she's like, and basically Mari says that she doesn't think she's the Sao anymore, but she also thinks she's not the original Mari anymore. She's like neither, but maybe at the same time both. And this is really interesting though. At what point? Because I made this theory about how I believe she was never Sao to begin with,
Right.
But and that's why I've always seen her as just Mari. But let me ask you something. Maybe from a neutral standpoint of view, or from her point of view, at which point were you able to just look at that person and say that was a Sao? Like when was the last time you saw Mari and thought of Isao, rather than actually Mari? When was the last time?
Honestly, the only time I've really been doing is when the actual Isao is in the scene.
Yeah.
Just because we need to make, just because it's usually important there to make a point of how this differentiating.
Well, I mean, it's similar. I mean, I'm saying like, because in the beginning of the story, right?
Right.
Because we didn't know anything about Mari, we assumed that it was Isao in her body.
Right.
So we always looked at Mari as Isao. For you, when did that stop happening? Because I'm assuming you're seeing Mari you're seeing Mari right now, just Mari, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time you thought of her as Isao? When was the last time?
I don't know. I think I kind of thought about it that way, at least up until the point where you first told me about the theory where you kind of convinced me on your theory that Mari has been Mari the entire time.
Yeah, and then you
So
just kind of stopped looking at it that way.
I think somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, because if you even if you didn't have that theory though, if you look at the way Mari's been acting, it hasn't been Isao like at all. Like
Yeah, not for a while.
maybe for the past not like for the past 20 chapters. Like it hasn't. You can clearly tell it hasn't been Isao in her head. It's like, but it's not Mari, right? Because Mari's like very quiet, very seductive in a way. It's been some type of new entity that we're seeing in front of us that we
Fumika.
never maybe that well, maybe we don't know who Fumiko is though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So but we're seeing this new entity, this Mari that this very unsure Mari who is also trying to distance herself from the original Sal, but at the same time is clearly not the real Mari, or the one that's all seductive.
Yeah.
So at this point, the very special point though
Or
is that
actually, to put it another way, this is the real Mari.
depends. Again, we don't know enough of her history to say this is the real Mari, because this could be like the new Mari, like the newest version of her.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe this Mario will go away sometime later. Who knows?
Yeah.
And maybe she's been doing this her entire life, and maybe this is just like number 12. Who knows? But the big part about this is one reason why it's so important is that Mari herself is admitting this, saying that I am neither.
Yeah, like the way she phrases it is like, the me in that apartment is no longer this me. I don't have any home to go back to either. I can't go back to my former self or to Mari. But in that case, let's search for a home together. A true home for both of us.
Yeah. So as I said, both of us were already biased because we had that theory of ours, right?
Right.
But if you had a neutral,
your theory, but like I said, I'm kind of in believing it because, you know what I think probably did it. Not just your theory, but that whole thing I pointed out with the pills. When I realized that's when it clicked for me that I think you were right.
Yeah, but you eventually came along eventually, but if you had a neutral read this manga and he didn't come up with any theory, right? Maybe he wasn't trying to analyze anything. If I asked that person the same question, he'd probably say that no, he didn't think of Mari as Isao for maybe about 15 chapters, and that he was actually thinking of this guy as actually Mari, So and of course it culminates with this final thing that, in my opinion, really defines her as maybe separate from her previous two personalities, which is Yori-san.
Yep.
I love you. And this is something that I don't think her South personality would have said. I don't think this is something the real Mario would have said, because they both kind of keep to themselves in different ways.
Yeah.
But this is the
to be honest, this part felt. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. I was going to say this part felt to me like it kind of came out of nowhere. It's like came out of left field.
I think it's because she realized that she needed. I think it was the last chapter. It was last chapter, last chapter. That where she said she realized that she needed Yori. I think this is where I kind of expected her to say this, because she kind of built it up last chapter from saying how much she needed Yori. Because that's like, that sounds like exactly what one might say about a lover, or at least a close person. So and I kind of felt that she wouldn't go for the friend road. I felt like they were kind of being up too romantic. I kind of felt that way, especially with the kiss. I mean, the kiss kind of like okay, obviously not just friends. Maybe something's in there, and I think this chapter confirmed it. But Yori slapped her. No, screw you. She didn't say that, but it's really funny seeing her. So she slaps. Well, she slaps Mario like a bunch of times. Actually, a bunch of times. Starts crying.
Yeah,
and then she starts crying even more.
Yeah, she slaps her at least 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 times at least.
Bitch slapping. Now say you're sorry.
It's like she's spelling out the word as he does it. BITCHLAB.
I think I peed a little.
Oh yeah, Frieza.
yeah, Frieza.
And then that's pretty much, like I said, that's where the chapter ends. She breaks down, and it looks like Mari's kind of hugging her a little bit, or at least getting ready to.
Yeah. So I'm actually at a point where I don't know where this is gonna go.
I know. I mean, at the very least, the whole Fumiko thing is definitely on the back burner now.
Are they gonna be in an abusive relationship now, where she's gonna slap Mari every time she's?
Well, they were already in an abusive relationship.
Probably, yeah, pretty much.
From day one.
Day one, verbally and then physically. Although physically, because she would never. She would. Actually, I just thought of something. She hit Mari's body. Remember, she used to idolize Mari's body. She had put her on a pedestal.
She
would verbally assault. She would verbally assault Isao, but she would never actually hit him because it was Mari's body. Now she's just like slap, slap, slap.
Well, more than one barrier is getting broken today. It looks like.
I think maybe this is her recognition. It's like, you know what? The Mari I knew either is this Mari or she will never come back. This is the Mari I gotta live with now.
Yeah, or never existed in the first place.
Yeah. So basically, so basically, she's come to accept it. I think now she's considered. Now she's not separating the physical from the mind, the physical from the mental anymore. She's now combined them and saying this person in front of me is not just the mind, it's not just the body, it's the whole package. So when I slap her, I'm not slapping Mari's body. I'm slapping Mari or Isao or whatever that person
Yeah.
herself is.
Who even Mari's not sure about who she is anymore.
Yeah, so let's stick with Mari. It's
Yeah.
Mari. It's Mari. Whatever version of Mari it is, it's Mari. You know. Actually, what I'm curious is though is maybe I want to check out. I'm not because I don't know Japanese, but I want to know what Mari means, and then what does Fumiko mean, right? I want to know if
Well,
there's a connection.
I'm not sure. I think the Fu and Fumiko might relate to wind or air. I don't know. I see here. I wonder if there's a Mari Wikia. Hang on here.
I highly doubt it.
Eh,
It's kind of an obscure series, to be honest.
it is, but you never know.
Even Flowers of Evil was kind of like,
True.
you know, and that's like the biggest. That's like the big break for the mangaka.
Yeah, you're right. I did it as Boku wa Mari no Naka, the Japanese name, and nope.
Yeah.
Figured if it's gonna be either one or the other, it'd be that one.
Hey, you should do some. You should add some TV tropes to inside Mari. I feel like we could do some stuff to add there. They do have a TV tropes page for it, so.
Oh yeah, they do. It's a small page, and I haven't really been sure what to add on there. But I was actually taking a look at it just a moment ago to see if there's anything added on there recently or not.
Typical manga fan was right.
Yeah. Well, that might be for the discussion page.
Do something like, or at least say, hey,
Well,
it might just put the possibility that it might actually be Mari after all. Something like that.
Yeah, there's a section for wild mass guessing. They actually don't have that here, but they do mention it in part of the page. Whereas like many, if not most, of the fandom is under the impression that it's not truly a body swap manga. Mari just has psychological issues.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. They already have it. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. But it's not just my theory. It's actually a theory that a lot of people already came up with before I even started the manga.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't get all the credit myself.
Yeah.
I actually used kind of like their ideas and added my own detailed examples to support it.
I know where you're coming from on there. Like I actually just recently had something like that with Five Nights at Freddy's 4. That's gonna become theory on that particular story.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I have no idea what it's going to go from here. It could go anywhere at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening either at this point. At the very least, I mean, I do want to see if they come back to older Mari upstairs, or if we get kind of explanations about the issues she seems to have with her mother and sister.
Yeah, but I think in terms of the Mari and I was about to say Fumiko, but I was Yori dynamic. I think it's close to the end. I think at this point, if we were to make her still depressed or have the relationship still be not, still be strained, I think we're kind of like wasting our time because I feel like this, look, the manga goes at a simultaneously a slow pace but also very fast pace. Because it's like chapter 54 now, 55.
Right, and we've had quite a few reveals between now and then.
Exactly. So it actually a lot of stuff has happened. But the fact is, if their relationship is still strained in the next chapter or so, even if it's slightly improved, if it's not close to being strong, then I think this is a complete waste of my time. Because otherwise, it's like, okay, why did you go through all that just for her to maybe say, to have a little more, Yeah. I think at this point, they should they should be the bond between them should be a lot stronger now. Not perfect, of course. I don't think it's gonna be perfect, especially because we don't even know who Mari is, and neither does Yori. But lot stronger than it used to. Yeah, but a lot stronger than it used to be. I want that. So.
Yeah, and I think you're right that we're more or less on the way towards that. It's just a matter of just how will it develop exactly, like what will bring it about.
I just think that. This entire thing, the entire little subplot here, or maybe main plot is. Well, I don't know if it's a main plot, whatever. Because they often intertwine. All the subplots and the main plots intertwine a lot. So, but I think ultimately though, I want something to come out of this. I want something big to come out of this because this is someone who's been with her for such a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah. Better love story than Twilight.
What isn't? I mean, they could hate each other's guts and then still be a better love story.
Sakura and Sasuke.
That was maybe neck and neck.
I'd rather choose the Twilight one because I think I can see them loving each other, thinking they love each other. Whereas with Sasuke, he wouldn't even give Sakura a kiss. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
That's up at that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, since we're kind of getting off topic at this point, I think we can say that that's been our review of Inside Mari, Chapter 54. What was bottled up. I said, I'm with you on there. I don't know quite where this is going on this, but I guess it's going to be a matter of seeing what comes up next week, I guess.
Hollywood's bottle up.
Yeah.
Meds that Mari isn't taking.
There you go. Anyway, go ahead and take us away.
Bye!